Yes, hello, hello, hello. And while the music is playing, I'm going to introduce our new topic of today. We have another episode of Dance Gems. And today we're going to talk about misunderstood oneness, the real story of body and mind. Wow, that's a mouthful. Let me see if my good friend Ton is there. Ton, hey, are you there?
I am there, Sean. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. I have a new, hopefully, exciting topic for you, which is called Misunderstood Oneness, the real story of body and mind. Definitely a topic that's always on my mind, to be honest. Um, let's talk a little bit about it. Is it body and mind? Is that one, or are those two different things? Right. That's what we are going to talk about today.
Yes, very, very interesting subject.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
hmm
Yeah.
Your body, you have always with you. Did you know
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, your body have you're always with you. Yeah, it sometimes feels that you don't always have your mind with you, but
Yeah.
yeah, you have your mind with you too, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes. Yeah.
It's also there. And you have only one of them. Only one.
You have only one body. Yeah. Although some people even try to do that. We have all kind of theories around this topic, right? But the most interesting, well, that's a subjective word in this case, right? The most the thing that we want to talk about, the thing that we want to talk about today is that a lot of people talk about the body and mind connection, and we have a body, mind, and soul, and in my beliefs, and actually, if you maybe think about it, there is actually no difference between body and mind. But it's a good way to talk about it when we want to talk about the mind and want to talk about the body. So that's, I call that a modality. We can talk about these things in separate ways. But the reality is you actually don't really know where your mind is and where your body ends, right? It's that's really hard. Do you know where that's coming from, by the way, that in the Western world, Tom, we talk about this dualism of the
Yes,
body mind?
I was just in my mind, Sean.
That was
Yes.
just in your mind. Yeah. Do you
Yeah,
know where that?
yes.
You know where that's coming from, right?
No, you know that because I know some guy in 1650.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
say his name.
Yeah. It's René Descartes. And he was born. I wanted to be a little bit precise here. He was born in 1596, and he died in.
1596,
Yeah,
yes.
but he was
Wow.
born there. He probably did not have those thoughts at that age, 1596, and he died in 1650. And so he's a very famous philosopher. A lot of psychologies and psychology theories, besides the philosophy theories, are also coming from him. And he was a great mathematician, by the way, as well. So with full respect, I've reading I read some of his work, maybe quite a bit of his work. But one thing that always struck me as a little bit odd was what we call dualism, and it's now known as Cartesian
Mhm.
dualism. And that is that thinking that body and mind are two separate ways. Um, One he calls, it's a little bit easier to say that in English than in Dutch. We did the same podcast in Dutch, by the way. You can listen also to us in Dutch, guys. So that's kind of a nice thing. Is He says the body is you can actually separate the body, but you cannot separate the mind. So it's kind of an interesting theory he had about it. But he was a philosopher, and there was a time that we had great philosophers. I kind of missed that time. I wish I was born in a time, because there were people who were just thinking out loud about new concepts and ideas, and they had the freedom to do that, while people and other people were also respectfully trying to break down his theory and his hypothesis. And so anyhow, that's René Descartes. Give him a little bit of a background of the Cartesian philosophy that he had. Yeah. All right. That's where that's coming from. That's what we still have in our mind, you know?
Yes, yes. How older I get, Sean,
Hmm.
that's what I realize. I'm 59 years old, and I try to search. Not I try. I'm searching for myself. But
Hmm.
I'm already there, my body and mind. But what I want to say with it, I try to develop myself, not myself, just the mind, but
Yeah.
also my body. This is why I wrote a book, and not to make money from it. Also, that would be nice,
Yeah.
but but more what I have learned from it and how I have developed my mind. And because I developed my mind in one or other way, I developed also my body because
Yeah.
it's connected. Because I think now different about life, how to eat, how to sleep, how to have social contacts, to enjoy life, and that reflects to my body too. Sometimes I'm really fanatic, and then my body said, sometimes stop. Now you hurt yourself. You have a problem with your knee now, so try to do something else, other activities than how you say, to put more pressure on the knee. So try to be calm for yourself. So, and sometimes my body say then stop. Yes,
Yeah.
Sean.
That can happen. Yeah. Well, there is definitely, when I was taking a slightly different route in the Dutch, in the English version, apparently. But when I was in training as a martial artist, and I did a very traditional way, so we had a lot. We learned also a lot about massage and how to use herbs and stuff like that, to treat the body when to keep them healthy or when they're not very in pain. And one of the things that we tend to do is when we have pain, that our mind wants to go away from it, right? Or let's and then you hear some people say, "Oh, don't think about it." You should not think about it. Where in the way that I was raised, if it comes to pain, you actually first go to the pain with your mind, right? You think about, okay, what, and truly feel what's going on with it. Because pain is nothing else more than a scream for attention. There's something wrong with my knee. I need attention. So the first thing you need to do when someone asks for attention is, of course, listening before you conclude what's going on. And so we now have professionals that do that for us. We go to a doctor, and the doctor try to understand what's going on with the thing. But what you did was really good. You can listen to your knee first, right? Really well. And there was a time when doctors totally did not listen to you at all. You just came into a doctor's office and you said, I have this, and you were not allowed to talk. And he was looking at you and blah, 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 blah. And he said a couple of difficult words, and then he gave you a recipe, and here, go home. Nowadays, doctors really ask you, what do you feel? On a scale from 1 till 10, on how much pain does it cause? Does it happen when you walk? Does it happen? So they try to listen to how you feel the pain, um, and that's an important part in the body and mind healing, because we have that. We have that. Does that make sense, Son? That's how we. That's how it's more done. More and more people start to see that there is, at least they think now, there is a connection. I go a little bit further in that thinking. There is, if there, a connection means still there are two separate parts, because they need to be connected. I'd say that you don't need to connect them because they're one.
Yes.
Yeah.
What I not understand, Sean, maybe you
Hmm.
can help me with that one. I have a friend,
Yeah.
it's a she, and she gets now also, I think, 56 years old. And from her 18 years old, she has problems with her knees,
Hmm.
and still it hurts. And when she walks 200 or 300 meters, she cannot walk anymore because she has so much pain. I said to her, maybe it's good to take an MRI scan.
Mm-hmm.
but she never did. I said, "How you want to know then what it is then?" Yeah, because the doctor said this, the doctor said that. Doctor say I have to be careful more. Then I listen to the doctor because the doctor knows that I have to be careful.
Mm-hmm.
So, but how can somebody be almost 40 years, stay in the situation that you have 40 years pain in your knee? I I would not, that would be not my purpose in my life to walk with 40 years pain in my knee. I would do everything to listen to the body and to try to solve this issue. But everybody is different, and you can see how the mind communicates with the body. And I wouldn't accept for my body that I have that till I know what it really is.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's of course that's a huge mindset different, and you know, I mean, I'm leaning. I mean, I don't know the person, so I try to be it.
Mhm.
I'm leaning more toward you, saying, "Hey, if you don't know what's going on, I would keep going." But maybe she went to so many doctors and she's tired of it. And to some
Mhm.
extent, I can relate to it. When I was a kid, I had so many stomach aches, and I went to so many doctors, and I got tubes in my mouth and tubes in my, what, and at some point in time, you know what? It's bearable. It's not that I cannot function. I'm okay with it. Have enough of all these doctors.
Mhm.
I have enough of all these doctors. And then,
Yeah, well, see,
so,
what she said, Sean. Sorry for the interruption. She said, "I don't want not a new knee because I'm too young to get a new knee,
okay.
and it's not how you said, the evolution is not good enough in the technique to give a good knee." And now I met somebody in Germany, a friend of me who dances also Latin dancing, and he is chirurg.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Surgeon.
Yes, surgeon, a professor in knees, specialist in knees. And I try. He gave me his contacts. I gave it to my friend, and she didn't contact him. So maybe she's afraid of something, and I'm afraid. Did you? I asked her once. Have you take contact with him, or shall I bring you in contact them with him? Yeah, wait. I'm now doing some belly dance, so I do now exercise. Oh, I say I'm. I said to her, I'm very, very proud of you that you're doing exercise now. It's always healthy for your body to do something for your body. But in one way, she decided not to go in what I offer her. And now it's yeah. Because I'm a friend, I try, of course, to support, to help, but I try also to let it go and think, okay, it's your choice what you
Yeah.
do with your body.
Yeah, it
And
is. Yeah.
yes, because you have only one body and one mind. So
Yeah.
this is the highest priority that you can
Mm.
do whatever you want to do with it. So you can smoke. I go to a different subject. You can eat every day fast food. You can every day do no exercise for your body. You can eat a lot of sugars, a lot of alcohol, drink a lot of alcohol. So actually, you say to your body, I give you a lot of that, but I not give my body the exercise what it need. So that's also a choice. It's not my choice. And I'm happy for it because what I can do now with 59, other people would look to it and think, is that possible with 59? Yes,
Mm.
I invest every morning a half hour. No, first I do my schedule.
Okay,
I go
Tom.
one
But
hour.
we're talking about body mind connection.
Yeah, buddy, I want to explain that. I go to my exercise. No, first I develop my mind. I go to the computer and then I do some
Mhm.
research about one subject. Then I go to my exercise and I think, okay, now I have to give my body treatment. what I learned now is to have my awareness to my body. So body and brain comes together. So I try to how we say, I try to have variations in it between body and mind, but always body and mind is one. Also, I speak now to you, and I know exactly what gestures I doing, and how my clothes are feeling on my body, how I have my head to that side or that side. So this is the awareness, the body awareness, but also the awareness of the mind to think about that body. And in that schedule, I make a schedule where I think it's the most healthy for myself, this decision. And what some other people will do with their decisions, it's up to them. Maybe they are more relaxed than me and more funny. I don't know. That's just an opinion. So you can continue. Sorry for the interruption, Sean.
No, no, no. You were on a rant, but still, I still try to figure out what you try to say about the body and mind. In my mind, to be honest, if I listen to you, let's make it a really hard thing. You still think they are two separate things. You talk about that as two
Yes,
separate
if
things.
you see it like that, yes.
Yeah.
But still, when I sit now behind my desktop, still I think about my body. Where are the pressure points? Where are so it's not just the mind because I'm now speaking. I I'm more aware of my body. So I try to practice my awareness because there are how we say research to it of the awareness, how much you are aware during a day to yourself, and the result was 5% that you are aware of what you are doing in the whole day in 24 hours, 24/7. And if you could bring that awareness more up to your body and to your mind, you said that to me, Sean, how much you would improve, not improve, more efficient. Is that the right
Oh,
word?
yeah, no, no. The discussion was so we are an average person is only 5% aware of what they do, right? What they physically do.
Mhm.
You know, you cannot do more. And but if you can increase it through exercise to 6%, that would be a 20% increase. So just you know, we had that question is how much would you be able to do then with 20% more? You know, if I give you 20% more money in your life, you know, think about how much 20% is. It's always a relative, and for some people, it's like, wow, maybe that's worthwhile doing it, right? The other way
Yes,
around
yes.
is also true. If you what you said about nutrition and stuff like that, if you constantly feed your body with not so healthy nutrition, you actually lower your function of your body by percentage each day. At some point in time, the gap between someone who kept their body healthy compared to someone who didn't keep their body healthy is huge. Some For some people that's by choice, for other people it's not. Um, but anyhow, that's a lot. There's a lot of talk about either the body and there's a lot of talk either about the mind, right? There is not enough talk, in my opinion, about when they are together, which is also really hard, right? It's really hard to now. And there you see the influence of Monsieur Descartes, is that he created that dualism so hard in our culture that we even have a hard time in our language to talk to them as one thing. You go to other philosophies, people who have been raised differently, you will see that their language that they use is is not so separate. Hey, we're talking about the body. Hey, we're talking about the mind, right? And that's an interesting thing, that the culture and the language we grow up with give us also the way we view things in the world. That's what we're talking about now. Modern medicine talks more about the body and mind as one. They still talk about body and mind connection. Uh, most people know that I also work with a lot of trauma. I cannot say patient because I'm not a doctor, but people who have through trauma. And from trauma, we know that if you only work on their mind, which was for a while, that's what we did, their healing doesn't go so far if we work in tandem with the body. Now, some people believe that you need to work first with the body, but then you get that separation again, right? You cannot work on one only. You always work on that's the point that I say. If we teach dance, there is no way that I can only work with them on the hands or on the. There is always a mind involved. I can also not only work on the mind. It's completely impossible. It's a theoretical model that I will ask you to only move your hand without an engagement of the mind. It's just impossible. Yeah, it
Hmm.
would be impossible if I give you drugs and you are unconscious and I move your hand. But you see, there is still a mind involved, namely my mind in that case. Does that make sense? If I there is no way that that is, and you can also not prove that the mind is functioning without the body. We can simply not prove it. We can prove, the only thing we can prove, Tom, is that there is activity in the brain, right? There's activity in the brain if the body is not moving, but we don't literally not know what that activity then means. Does that make sense? There is no
Yeah,
way to prove that. That is the absolute proof that as long as we here on earth, we have a body and mind, and they are together, no matter what you do, no
yeah.
matter.
This
That's
is
what we
why
can.
that dualism is there, body and mind. This is because this two is
We
there, but they are connected as one.
we're not even
Uh,
connected, yeah. But
no, no,
connection means,
yes,
yeah. Let's see there how hard it is. But we want to
yes, yes,
talk about things, and because we want to talk about things,
correct.
we separate them, which is great because now we can talk about the separate body mind. But we missed that one big step. Maybe René Descartes would agree with us. We missed that one step, but we also need to try to talk from the other perspective.
Yes, and
It's
the
like,
interaction
yeah,
between two.
exactly. It's like a car, right? If you can talk about the wheels, you can talk about the engine, but in the end of the day, it's a car, right? There is no, so we can talk about these separate things, but we have not enough talk about. Yeah, I
So when the
started to
body
use.
would when the body would be the car, then is the brain the driver of it?
No, I would not say that. I tried that, but I don't think
No.
that does really work. Last week I had a talk about trauma healing, and so I start to talk a little bit more about the word interaction between all components. Body and mind also almost gives us the feeling that there are only two components that drives all that, right? And
Yes,
we
yes,
know now there are actually more things involved. The
yes,
body
but
is, yeah,
yes,
the body is way too
correct.
complex to only say what is then the body. What is the
So,
body then?
yes, the same with the hardware and the software, Sean. The body would be the hardware and the brain the software.
Yeah, I think that becomes a little bit closer, right? Because
Yes,
is it
yes.
possible to only see software? Yeah, you could
No,
print it out, right? You could print it out, but it doesn't do anything. I mean, only software is just dots and zeros and ones, right? And so in itself, it doesn't do anything. Pure hardware, it probably can buzz a little bit, Bzz, but it doesn't do anything. The two absolutely, you can talk about it
yeah.
separately, but
So
that's the
yeah,
issue, is that we have no language to talk to them in combination of, unless you study a little bit more Asian philosophy, where there is little less talk about the body and mind.
yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
So
But
we
there
we
is the
also,
interaction. then there is an interaction, but
There is
it's
interaction, of
mechanical.
course.
Yeah, because software, it's just
No, it's not
uh,
mechanical either. It's
yes, yes,
actually
yes,
so in computer software, it is the electrical impulse that is the
yes,
interaction. For our mind, it is the
yes.
neurotransmitting, but it's also the
Mm,
chemical interaction, which we actually know even less of how that works. So there's a lot of unknown in it, and people like Descartes try to already, with their limited understanding of how the body functions, try to give it words, which I think is a great attempt. We're doing now the same thing, actually, right? We're trying to, with our limited understanding, trying to give a little bit more background of how these things work. But, a common saying is mind over body, right? Um, but one of our colleagues, and rightfully so, I wholeheartedly agree with him, it is as much mind over body as it is body over mind. But for
yeah,
the longest time, we always take this mind over body, mind over body. So you see how much emphasis it is. And it is absolutely true that people sometimes neglect the mindset that they have to do things. But if it doesn't come together with the awareness of the body, which we call proprioception, which is the sixth sense, it has to go in tandem. It cannot be one or the other. It has to
yeah.
go in tandem.
So the body awareness, Sean, is what is that?
I don't know what you
Because
want.
for the listeners who not know what the proprioception is,
Yeah. Another word would be body awareness.
yes,
Yeah, that would be that would be a synonym of it. And it is be more aware of the body. And proprioception talks about body as a whole, which in essence, is also not entirely correct, right?
yes,
Um,
yes,
but we can,
yes.
yeah, because it
By
has,
yes, by manner of speaking, I put the hardware and the software there as a just an example as a manner of
yeah,
speaking. It's
yes,
of course not like that because a human being is organic. It lives, and through the spine, and the nerves go through the spine and send the information to the brain. This is actually why I do gymnastic for the brain and gymnastic for my body. And I bring, of course, you need both together to develop, because when you're not one developed, the other one will also not develop. I believe it, because if I know more words in my brain, because
yeah,
the words are also connected with my proprioception, through that we learn also, the body learn also. And sometimes we invent new words, and
yeah.
with new words we make new
Neurons.
neurons in the brain, and the brain learns also again from it. And
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. There
yes,
is so much interaction and
yeah,
connectivity in there. I think we are, well, I mean, I'm not a scientist in this area, but but you never know what you don't know, and that's a lot of people say. So it's hard to say in how far we are in understanding that interaction. And
yeah,
I think because of that, Tom, and that's the thing that I want to warn us for as dancers specifically, because it is easier to understand separate pieces of things, right? We sometimes separate them out so much that we forget the whole thing, right? We forget the whole thing is, we talk so much about human beings, we forget that we live on the whole planet where everything interacts with each other as one organism, right?
hmm,
The movie Avatar tried to make an attempt to do that from a science fiction point of view, that the planet is one organic thing. It's coming from that type of philosophy of doing that, and I do it myself too. I introduced a model called the five life energies, right? With I didn't try to say, oh, one energy is more important than the other. It's just to give us a language to talk about things, right? Doesn't mean that one, because in the end it's just all one energy, right? And and that's what we need to do. So I think we can fairly know exact how what the function is of the liver. As an example. Um, um, but the function of the body as a whole thing is still, gives more mystery than anything else. And that's even beyond the point that we might also have a soul, and something that lives on if the whole body mind dies, then we have a soul that lives on. Many people believe that. Yeah,
Yes,
many people.
yes, but uh, you can hear me, Sean?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, it could be. The only what I feel is my for myself is my conscious and my body. And my when I have pain, my body say, "Okay, I have pain in my shoulder." My
Hmm.
conscious said, "Yes." If I don't know what the soul would say, but
I think
it
I
will
think
be.
I know what the
Yeah.
soul would say. It's a little bit your internal compass. There are several words of soul in a lot of different cultures, right? We can talk about the self, right? What the self is, right? Psychologists they talk about that. Um, we talk sometimes about personality. Yeah, personality is that influenced by a culture, or are people born with a certain personality? What is that? Where does personality sits in the body? Right? You would
Mm.
never be able to answer that question, but it's very clear that Ton has a completely different personality than Jean. Huh?
Yeah.
And
Yes.
that's great. That we love that. We love that there is so many diversity of personalities. Where is that coming from? I mean, I was
Yes.
born in a family of 8 siblings. Well, not at the same time, but I mean, I grew up with 6 siblings, and they all are completely different. But if someone else outside the family looks at us, they see a lot of communalities uh, in those personalities too. They say, "Oh, that's typically one from the Dorf family," you know. So apparently, we have a little bit of both. So there is a lot of mystery. The reason why we talk about this in a dense perspective is there are people who give a lot of emphasis on body, only focusing on the body. Now, I'm not saying that a bodybuilder has no good mindset. I know quite a few bodybuilders, and there's an extreme high discipline that they have. But you can also see there is so much emphasis on the body that it only is based on how the body looks like, how it is, it is. Um, you also have people who have so much
Yeah. But
emphasis
but
on the.
still, Sean, you
Mhm.
need a mindset for to
That's what I said.
build. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you said that. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hmm.
but
Continue. Yes.
there is a little bit more emphasis on the body, clearly,
Ah.
right? The beauty people too, people who are busy with looking as beautiful as possible. A lot more emphasis on how it looks on the outside than how it looks, and doesn't mean that they don't have a mindset. To make it in any industry, you have to have a great mindset. You also have people who are only busy with their mind. They don't care what they wear or what they, I mean, that doesn't mean that there is no body activity, because I already said that is impossible. So there's always one engaged. But you could see there is an overemphasis on one versus the other. That could, we as human beings, unfortunately, have that choice. And that's where it becomes interesting, Ton, because an animal
Mm.
has no choice. They live the way they live, and they just live
By
in a
their
circle
instinct.
by their instinct. We have a choice, so we could put more emphasis or no emphasis at all on our mindset. We can make that choice, right? There is always a connection, one influence the other. There is no doubt about that. But strangely enough, the fact that we have a choice is actually, I call that divine. That is so divine, that is so special, that we can almost make a choice in almost any aspect of our life, And I strongly believe that that is what we need to spend a lot of time on, is how do we make our choices.
Yes, and that's this in relationship to your dancing, because when I
And
do my gymnastic for my body, my gymnastic for my mind, I try to develop and invest on my age in that body and mind to give my art on the floor as a result from it, because I invest on that journey in my mind and in my body. But still, there must be a balance in it. And this is why I also try to live like a real, how you say, professional sporter, dancer,
an athlete, yeah.
and athlete. Yes, I go in bed. I want to reset when I go to sleep, my body and my mind, to be the next day full present for my body and my mind again. And this is why I make for myself the schedule to do exercises, and not only for my body but also for my mind, for my dancing, for my love, what I love to do on that floor, when I teach to people, how to educate myself and how I can deliver that to my students or uh, to the dancers who are in my lessons. This is quite important for myself. So everybody makes a different choice in their life. So they eat different, they treat their body different, they treat their mind different. Yes, but this is because this is my biggest passion. This is why I invest in body and in mind. And sometimes my mind says stop, you need 1 or 2 days break. And sometimes my body say you need now a week a break, because now you have so many injuries that you have to be calm. So and I listen then to my body also. And yes, this is the communication and the interaction between these two. To be a more professional dancer, um, what I where invest the most in is in my in
Senses.
senses, senses. Yes, that was correct. Senses, Sean.
Senses, yeah.
Uh, yes, and this is by looking, smelling, taste, listening. Um, but the most I learn, because the smelling is actually the oldest sense what we have. They say that. But through learning, through your eyes, you learn the most. But the eyes cannot think. The ears, I learn a lot to listen, but not because my ear can listen. No, my brain can listen. The lane, my brain makes a soup from it, a chocolate from it. They makes the information what I must understand, and this eye and this ear and my body awareness, the proprioception, is what gives the feedback to my brain. And from there, I try to learn, to observe, to listen. And where I could improve, and this is a weak point for me, where I'm working on, is on the listening. So I listen sometimes not good enough to my friend Sean, because he told it already 10 times, and Sean is going and going. So this is also a development to learn from it and to work on yourself. But it's also my character, my my being, that I'm reacting like that. So yes, what do you think about that one, Sean? To
No,
invest
I
in your body
no, I
and
always
in your brain and in your brain.
yeah, I think that's good. You know, in the all time, right? We all know the sentence, a healthy mind in a healthy body, right? Mens sana in corpus sana, in corpore sana. If my Latin is still helping me, um, um, so that is a known saying, and that is coming from the Greek Roman um, thinking and There was a poet who said that first, but it indicates always that if you want to think healthy, you need to have a healthy body, right? So that's actually already a stronger way of looking at it than actually Descartes did, right? I think his name was Juvenal or something. The poem, I can look it up in a moment. But he already indicated that you need to have a strong, healthy body to have to have healthy thinking, which we know from a psychology point of view that someone who is depressed and we help them to be a little bit more active in the body, that the mind actually will follow that. The other way around is also true. And I can give you an example out of my own experience. And by no mean, by the way, take this as, some sort of a weird kind of a healer, because I'm not. But I had a client just a few years ago, and she will testify to the truth of this story. Uh, and but so we did a lot of talking and a lot of coaching, where the doctors said to her that she could not, at some point in time, she would end up in a wheelchair. And so they advised her to minimize her bodily activities. And and dancing was one of them. So I asked this person, "Do you like to dance?" He said, "I love to dance," and I'm very sad that the doctors advised me to not dance. And I asked her, "Do you believe that you go faster in a wheelchair?" Well, I didn't know actually that she was going to the wheelchair. That was the whole thing, but that your body would decrease faster if you dance. Well, that's what they told me. They said, well, what do you rather do then? Do you rather have fun in your life and dance, but have a little bit less long, appreciation of your body? A long story short, she said, to be honest, yeah, I rather dance. Rather, I live short with dancing than long with no dancing. That was Komar. I said, okay, that's cool. I said, so I would advise you to dance. That's my advice. We went on and on and on. And at some point in time, her doctor said, I don't know what you're doing, but keep doing what you're doing. This woman is not in a wheelchair. She is still dancing. She's off her medication. She has no physical therapy necessary anymore. Does not mean that she is not without free of all the pain that she had, but she started her own companies too, in fact. Um, and that's the influence that we can have when we have. Now, there's no scientific proof to what we have done that would do, but the thinking of her body and let her body choose for herself um, helped this woman forward. It's not the only example that I have, but I have multiple examples of that. And I'm not saying that the medicine is wrong at all. Not at all. Like the friend that Tom has, yeah, if you can do an MRI, do an MRI. You know, it is the more information you have, the more possibility you have to make a holistic choice.
Yes.
That's the whole point. So we have all these instruments to our availability. Let's use them. I know there are many people who say no, don't go into that. I think it all could work,
Yes,
but
it's correct, Sean. And I would not take, like my friend, for my whole life pills or tablets. That would be just temporary because they would help the body temporary for a short time, but not
yeah,
for years, because actually you the body will use to that one. I would think, okay, now I did it for a year, maybe for 3 months, how I can go slowly off again, that my body can do it by themselves. That would be my goal. And so
yeah,
this is also a mindset, how to say to your body, okay, we try to do not 2 pills a day, we try one or one and a half, and then you try to go slowly off from it. But of course, you can ask yourself, uh, I, w- you want to do it for another 20 years, this, or for your life long that you will stay on the pills? That this question, this I would ask to myself, my mind, do I want that for my body? That's the most important question.
Yeah, it's. I mean, this is incredibly complex questions that we have. I think in modern society, with all the availability of medication that's there, I have, of course, my personal opinion about it. There's also really good things going on in the medical industry, but there's obviously with all industry, there's also a lot of bad going on. What I think Ton and I alluded to is that the body and mind are incredibly intelligent, more than we actually sometimes give it credit for, and it's a self-healing mechanism, right? If you know, it is truly self if we let it. There's more that the body can heal by itself than we actually, sometimes give it credit for. Now, do we sometimes need to interfere as with them? Yeah, I have enough doctors, and I'm glad that they are there and my friends and can save me when I need it. Ton went through a couple of things just not too long ago that doctors were necessary, but we also should not forget that the body and mind is incredibly intelligent. And I think this is a little bit where Ton and I as dancers are coming from, right? The things that we do and try to teach is actually increase the awareness of that intelligence. We cannot increase the intelligence, right? But we can increase the awareness of the body intelligence, and with that also the awareness of our own consciousness. The hope with that is, and we are both a little bit proof, but maybe also blessed about it. Next week I will be 63, right? And I am incredibly blessed with good health and a good mind. Now, there's a lot of other factors that are completely outside my control why I am like this, right? And so I'm not saying that, do everything that Ton and I say and you will be exactly the same. There are way more factors in life that influences that. But that's a little bit what it is. It's kind of curious that a lot of dancers and a lot of people who are busy with this, are vibrant in life. It's not wrong to look at us. Don't only think that, oh, you guys are lucky. Yeah, I think we're lucky too, but most people don't know what we have been through in our life. We could have easily let it slip away in something that it didn't function so
Yes.
well. Easily.
Yes,
Yeah. So
but
that's
we invest in it, Sean. This is what
we invest.
I cannot speak for you, but this is what I do. I
Well, that's
invest
what
in
I
my
do.
body, but I invest also in my brain for my love for dancing, and of course I practice this also in my daily life because
Yeah.
when I know when I go training to my training that it helps my training. But when I just do it in my training, then it would help, of course, also my daily life. But when I'm more aware in my daily life, then it helps, I think, more in my training because your daily life is 24 hours 7, 20, yeah, 24/7, and your training is maybe 1, 2, 3, or 5 hours a day. So it could never uh, compared to the training to the daily life because you can more train in your daily life if you are aware of it. If you are not aware of it, how you want to develop the body and the brain. That so stand still, have a little bit discipline, and not only discipline, but try to keep it also for a longer term to do that, not just one day, and then you are again in your old habits. So try to change the habits, but you can only change the habits if your mindset is ready for it. Then the body can take also action for it. And if you are not ready for it, then there will come a time that you will be ready for it. When that would be, I don't know. But for my dancing, I love to be on that floor, and how older I get, how crazy I get.
It's good. Yeah, I would. We're not talking about per se dancing. To I mean,
No,
because
no,
both
no,
Ton
but
and
it's a
I
dance
are.
podcast, Sean.
Yes, I know. No, no, no. But what I want to say is that some people think that because we are dance teachers and choreographers, that we only talk about dancing to the highest level. We're just talking about dancing in all the aspects that you can dance in with. The Einstein Institute in California found out that dancing is one of the activities that integrates the body and mind so much that it has an overall, unexpected health effects, like, it slows down the effects of Alzheimer, for instance. It's the only activity that scores so high on that scale. There's no other activity that scored as similar as high, and it's strangely enough, it is partner dancing. Strangely enough, because it has to do with you do everything. You do a lot of body activity, but you also do a lot of interaction. You have to think about your movements. You have to, use your communication skills. It's only the start of more research that will be done on this subject. But it's so that's what dance can do for you, and we're not talking all about becoming top dancers at all. It's just the
No,
activity.
no.
It's the
Yes.
activity in itself that
And
it
it's
is.
age-related symptoms that you can bring it. You can slow it down if you be active for in your mind gymnastic, and body gymnastic, and doesn't matter which level you are dance as a beginner or as a professional. Important is that you do something for that body and mind and try to develop that. If you want to develop that, I want to develop it for myself. Important to get more, yeah, discover the world by my sentence, by my senses. I try to discover that, and if I can discover it, then every day I see something new, and that's the most beautiful of it. I try to find every day something new, but it's not always possible.
No, but you can, there's so many things. You can eat new
Yeah.
things. You can see new things. All those kind of things. Anyhow, people, this was the whole body and mind. Let's not say any more body-mind connection. But if you do, no problem at all, right? We talked a little bit about, where that from a historical point of view has come to bear in the Western world, right? That is because of only one man, Mr. Descartes. René Descartes, he was born in France in 1596. But nowadays, actually, we see a lot of science integration where we bring these two together. There's a lot of interesting thing going on there. Um, we also have, in the therapeutic world or the coaching world that I live in, is we see that it is absolutely imperative that we need to address both sides if you want to help people, to overcome trauma, so that's a real world thing. So we do that. And then we also talked about some practical day-to-day things. Is how can we be a little bit more aware of our body and our mind. And if you like dancing, dancing would be a really good way to do that. That's what we said. There are other things as well. I'm sure my sister's a yoga instructor. She would probably say the same thing. But you talk to Jean and Ton, and we are dance jams, and we love to talk about dance. And in this case, we talked about the body and mind from a dance perspective. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was another uh, interesting discussion. Let's put it that way.
I learned a lot again, Sean.
Same
So I
here.
will, I will listen the podcast again, and then I tried to remember it. And when I do it again, maybe I need to listen 6 or 9 times before it gets in my mind.
Yeah, yeah,
No, no,
yeah.
it's they did a research about that one, that you not say it one time or listen one time that you know it, but you have to listen many times again, 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 that it gets in that brain.
And that goes for both ways. So yeah, we sometimes listen to our own podcast.
Yes, yes, I do
Isn't that
that.
funny? And having said that, by the way, guys, we and girls, of course, we are on YouTube. We are on
Spotify,
Spotify, Apple. We probably are very soon
our
also
website.
on. Yeah, we are on a website, and very soon we will also will be on Audible. We put in the request to be, an Audible. You have to be allowed on, and so we'll be an Audible too. But if you're already on YouTube and if you're already on Apple or Spotify, listen to Shaw and the Dance Gems, either in Dutch or in English. Every week, at least one new episode. And who know what will the next episode be about? For now, I say to you all bye bye and see you next time, Tom. And it's always a pleasure having these talks with you. Maybe next time we have a guest and we can talk about other things
Yes,
as
that
well.
would be fantastic. And maybe you can start the music already and we can speak a little bit through the music. That is always nice. I
Yeah.
like that in the podcast.
Okay.
Thank you, listeners, that you were with us and listened to us. It was great that you came till the end. Thank you very much.
Thank you very
So,
much.
Sean,
And we'll see
you
you
can
next time.
close.
We'll
Bye
see.
bye.
Bye bye. Misunderstood oneness, the real story of body and mind. I think we're not finished with these topics, but it will come soon and we'll probably do it another time, right? And, as last, don't forget we're on Spotify, we are on YouTube, and we are on the website. And this was Shah. And with that, we say bye bye.